Hello and welcome. As you can see, this is a TV English lessons program overview. Now, overview means a general presentation of our program. Here we go. It's a great pleasure for the pedagogical team of English to be given the opportunity to prepare and deliver a set of televised lessons. These lessons are in complete accordance with the official curricula and programs. They will be broadcasted on a regular basis, and they might interest TV viewers at large. However, these lessons are prepared in such a way as to enable both schooled and non-schooled baccalaureate candidates to improve their general proficiency in the English language, but particularly to be better coached for the different exams they're going to sit for. The lessons we're going to present will feature practically all the aspects of the English language, and the activities and the exercises you'll be asked to work on will help you meet the learning objectives which are officially set for the baccalaureate cycle, and hopefully prepare you for your further studies. The context and starting points of our lessons are the themes included in the textbooks which are currently used in all the schools across the country. Here are the 10 themes in question: cultural issues and values, international organizations, advances in science and technology, women in power, citizenship, formal, informal, and non-formal education, the gifts of youth, brain drain, sustainable development, and humor. The lessons will target and focus on the following aspects of English: reading, writing, and listening to a lesser extent, grammar or structures, language functions, vocabulary, review exercises, and samples of baccalaureate exam papers. It should be noted that in the lessons we are going to present, you're going to be exposed to objectives and skills which you've already worked on in the previous studies. What you will need, therefore, are activities and exercises which will help you reinforce, improve, expand, and review your acquisitions. The lessons will also contain new learning objectives. You will be given enough opportunities to identify, understand, and practice these new elements. Okay, here are more details about our lessons. Reading lessons. These lessons will always start by a comprehension passage. It can be a prose text, dialogues, interviews, or letters, etc. Leading activities to introduce the session. And you will work on sets of comprehension tasks aimed at developing and reinforcing different reading skills. Examples of comprehension tasks and exercises. First, true or false plus appropriate justification. The rubric of the instruction are these sentences true or false? Justify. Here's a text. Skiing is one of the most popular sports in the world. According to recent estimates, about 100 million people ski regularly or occasionally. Here is the item, the question. Half of the world population ski regularly or occasionally. Is it true or false? Of course, the answer is false. Justification: about 100 million people ski regularly or occasionally. Now, WH questions, that is to say, questions that start with H and WH. Example: where, who, what, when, whose, which, why, and how. The rubric is answer these questions in your own words. Text. Example: I was deep in thought at my office, preparing a lecture to be given that evening at a college across town, when the phone rang. A woman I had never met introduced herself and said that she was the mother of a 7-year-old and that she was dying. Now the questions: where was the writer? What was she doing? How old was the woman's child? Answer: she was at her office. This is the example of the answer you can give. Answer for question 2: she was preparing a lecture. And question 3: the child was 17. The child was 17 years old. Now, multiple choice questions. The rubric is choose the right answer from the list given. Here's an example. The same text. I was deep in thought at my office, preparing a lecture to be given that evening at a college across town, when the phone rang. A woman I had never met introduced herself and said that she was the mother of a 7-year-old and that she was dying. Now the question: when the writer was preparing a lecture, A, a man came to visit her. B, a woman came to visit her. A woman telephoned her. So you've got to choose the right answer from this list. Answer is B, of course. A woman phoned her. Now, one other kind of exercise: identify reference. Now, the rubrics we use is: what do the underlined words in the text refer to? Here is the text again. Look at the word herself. It's underlined. It's in line 5. So the question: what does the word herself refer to in the text? Answer: good. Herself refers to a woman. Here is the answer. Herself refers to woman. Now, other types of questions include matching, gap filling, information transfer, sentence completion, ordering, classifying, categorizing. These will be explained to you later on in this session when we get to the other components of the lessons. Now, writing lessons. Writing occupies a central part in the baccalaureate syllabus. Therefore, our lessons will attempt to equip you with useful techniques and tips which will help you communicate your ideas and your feelings as effectively as possible in the written language. Our lessons, we hope, will assist you to better organize your pieces of writing at the sentence level as well as at paragraph level. You will also learn to use appropriate vocabulary and grammar. You will also be trained to use appropriate mechanics, say spelling, punctuation, and capitalization, etc. Writing, here is a list of the writing genres that you will learn in this program. Formal letters, informal letters, personal letters, emails, application forms, reports, articles, descriptive texts, narrative texts, film review, book review, argumentative texts. Nota bene, reference to and the use of the process writing approach will be adopted as often as they are needed in the implementation of the activities that we will propose. Listening lessons. Now, so far we've seen reading, writing, and of course we get to listening lessons. Lessons which will be exclusively devoted to listening skills will be fewer in number than the ones devoted to the other aspects of English. This is so because of both time and technical constraints. So, whenever there is a listening lesson, the sub-skills targeted as well as the types of activities and comprehension exercises will not differ very much from what we suggest in the reading lessons. Now we get to vocabulary lessons. The opportunities to review, pick up, and learn new lexical items are numerous. This can happen in any one of our sessions. Example, in introducing and setting the scene for a reading or a listening lesson, or simply the language we'll be using to deliver our lessons. Other more formal opportunities will include the following: building semantic or spider maps, word association exercises, word derivation activities, collocation exercises, provide or match definitions, phrasal verbs, provide synonyms, antonyms, choosing appropriate words or phrases from a given list, locate synonyms or antonyms in a text. Nota bene, the content of vocabulary lessons will be based on the 10 themes referred to earlier in this presentation. Besides, the vocabulary lessons will most often be delivered in conjunction with lessons targeting other aspects of such as reading, function work, etc. Now we get to language functions. A lot of what we say is for a purpose. Example, giving an opinion, agreeing, expressing preference, etc. To express such purposes, we need to know a number of formulas and phrases, some formal and some informal, depending, of course, on the situation. In our lessons, we'll review some of the functions you studied in previous years, introduce newer ones, and expand on others. Now here is a list of functions to be reviewed: making and responding to requests, asking for and giving advice, asking for and giving opinion, expressing possibility, expressing apologies, expressing probability, expressing ability. Now here is the list of the functions to be introduced in our sessions. Expressing lack of understanding, making and responding to complaints, expressing agreement and disagreement, expressing certainty and impossibility, responding to good and bad news, expressing regret, and expressing obligation. Now, we'll use both. Receptive learners don't produce language, they receive and understand it only, and productive or active use of language. Now, examples of language function, tasks, and exercises. Receptive. Let's start by receptive exercises. Now, multiple choice, matching exercise, classification exercise, identifying the level of formality, productive, role play, sentence completion, blank filling exercises, responding to statements. What do the sentences express? Classification exercises. Now, rubric, classify these into formal and informal. Now, look at the list of expressions. Good morning, hello, hi, how is it going? Hi, hey, what's up? How are you? Now, you classify these expressions into formal and informal. So let's do it. Okay, good morning, formal. Hello, formal. Hi, it's informal. How is it going? Informal. Hey, what's up? It's informal. And how are you? This is a formal formula. Now, responding to statements. Rubric, what do you say in the following situations? Example, A, I often have terrible headaches. What should I do? Answer, if I were you, I'd see a doctor. Now, what do the sentences express? This is another exercise. Rubric, what does the following statement express? Example, A, to my mind, the greatest joy is giving. So, this statement expresses opinion. Now we get to grammar. Now, the grammar component of our lessons will deal mostly with the structural system of English. That is to say, verb and tense uses, passive voice, conditionals, to name but a few. In grammar lessons, as is the case with other aspects of English, students will encounter language for the first time. They will also have opportunities to see other structural elements they studied before. Now, here's a list of structures to be introduced. Passive voice, phrasal verbs, linking words, reported speech, modals in present and past, restrictive and non-restrictive relative clauses. To be introduced, again, infinitive and gerund, future perfect, if only wish in the past, conditional type 3, past perfect and past perfect continuous. Now, examples of grammar exercises: correct verb form, rubric, put the verbs between brackets in the correct tense. All right, here is an example. Now, sentence transformation. The rubric is rewrite the sentences as indicated. Here is an example. All right. Gap filling exercise. The rubric is fill in the gaps with the appropriate word from the list. Arrive, arrived, arriving. Here is the sentence. Here is the gap to fill. That's it. Thank you very much. See you soon.